Hello students, in this video I'm going to explain the collaborative task. That's the second task of the ISE II Speaking and Listening exam. In this task, that lasts 4 minutes, the examiner will start the conversation and you have to keep the conversation going. So your responsibility is to ask questions to the examiner to have him or her speak. This is a very interesting task because it's similar to speaking to a friend or someone you know, and this friend telling you something that's happening in their life or some opinion they have, and then you ask them questions. As if we compare this task to the topic task, in the topic task, you could say you're the focus of the conversation. You're explaining something that interests you. But in this second task, in the collaborative task, it's the examiner that is explaining and is talking about something that interests him or her, and you have to ask questions. So in this case, you don't have to talk about yourself, but talk about the examiner, his problems, his ideas, and get out information. So basically, you have to be a good listener and you have to be good at asking questions and giving advice. Next, we're going to look at some examples on how to do this, and we're going to look at some prompts the examiner might give you from the website of Trinity. As you can see here on this page, you can find the different things you need to know to do the collaborative task. So this document is going to show you different examples of beginnings of the collaborative task. When you move from the topic task to the collaborative task, the examiner says, for the next part, I'll tell you something. Then you have to ask me questions to find out more information and make comments. You need to keep the conversation going. After 4 minutes, I'll end the conversation. Are you ready? Okay, so here the examiner is going to read one prompt that is going to be similar to these prompts. Let's have a look at the first one. For example, the examiner might say, I have a friend who's studying English. He thinks the best way to improve his language skills is to watch lots of films in English. I'm not sure I agree with him. So as you see, this idea is incomplete. He's saying his friend wants to study English by watching films, and he says he thinks it's not a good idea. But for example, you don't know why he thinks it's a bad idea. So a good move here is always to ask a first question to clarify. So this, if you haven't understood very well, you could just ask, why do you think that? In that case, the examiner is going to explain more about his or her opinion, saying, well, I think if you just watch films, you're not going to be able to understand the grammar, or it's better to go to a language school and you're going to get a better idea of this opinion the examiner has. Then you could ask more information about his friend, more information about himself, what films does he watch, why doesn't he think this is a good idea, etc. And during this part of the exam, you have to show that you were able to start a conversation and keep it going, to expand ideas and opinions. Okay, so you could also talk about the advantages. For example, if the examiner says it's not a good idea to watch films to learn English, you could talk about the advantages of watching films to learn English. So always think, to create conversation, it's a good idea to talk about the other point of view. And you could speculate, maybe if he watches films, he would become more interested and ends up signing up for a course or traveling abroad, okay, and give advice. I think you should. This is also very important for this part of the exam. So that's it for the collaborative task. Remember, it's a kind of conversation. You have to imagine you're talking to a friend or to a co-worker or to a family member, and you want to find out a lot of information about what they're telling you. So first ask questions and then give advice. And that's when you'll finish the collaborative task and move on to the next task, that's the conversation task, that we'll see in the next video. So I'll see you there. I hope this was helpful. Goodbye.